apologies if you hear any sounds. My son's on Fortnite and he's being told to be quiet. I think he forgets. So there. Right, so make yourself nice and comfy. Comfy, that's not even a word. Comfy, and close your eyes and check in. So today's lesson has another theme, and it's looking at these goddesses again. So the goddess this week I want to look at is one called Varahi, and she is the feminine version of a god called Yama. And her magical, well, not magical power, but her strength is that of looking at the ego and trying to combat your ego. And so what is your ego? So, you know, I'd hate to think I've got an ego, but I suppose you're having everybody's got one in some respect, you know, because you can feel, you know, a bit bruised at times, can't you? And I think that's your ego saying, didn't really like that. So it's basically it's your conscious mind, and it's who you consider yourself. So somebody with a big ego is going to be somebody who's really full of themselves, and there you go. And it's shaped by your life experiences. So I guess if you've had a bad life or you've had a challenging life, you're going to build this armor. And it's sometimes what we hide behind. And you know, I know, so I'm a chatterbox, and I think that is because I like to, you know, I feel really uncomfortable in silence. So it's interesting what you see as your ego. But there's a really lovely phrase from Yogi Bhajan, which was, when ego is lost, limit is lost, and you become infinite and kind and beautiful. So how we conquer our ego is to practice gratitude, surrender to silence, and what more better way can you do that? And that is just to practice yoga. So turning this awareness inwards, and we can practice gratitude by, you know, maybe thanking the body that you've got for being this enduring thing that carries yourself around, you know, it battles the elements and all sorts. Thank it for everything that it does. Maybe you want to send out silent thanks to somebody in your life that supports you. In the beginning, just to notice your breath that little bit more. So as we turn our awareness inwards, we can begin our little body scan, noticing how we place the head on the floor, noticing the shoulders, the arms, the chest, noticing the hips and how you've arranged your legs on the floor. So you can think of the ego as something that you hide behind, but if we're going to be curious about letting go of the ego, let's practice our yoga with curiosity as well. So shall we start the movement? I think we should, shouldn't we? So standing your feet up just in line, just in front of you. So you've got your feet on the floor, knees pointing to the ceiling. Just give your toes a bit of a scrunch on the floor. And then let's begin our tailbone rolling. So if you just tuck your tailbone forwards to the floor and then press your lower back into the floor. Just do that a few times. And you're just watching that evenness of movement. So tailbone forwards and then pressing the lower back into the floor. Letting your head kind of wiggle with the movement. Chin wiggles. Feeling your head nodding. Feeling your spine pushing up and down through the body. And then relaxing your spine. We're just going to begin then to lift the right hip up off the floor. Drop the right hip down and then let the left hip come off the floor. So you're just rolling across the pelvis, keeping your knees, if you can, standing up. Now sometimes I want to drop to the side, but then you'll be going into a deeper twist, and that's what we're just trying to avoid. So at the moment, I just want you to feel, it's more of a gentle twist, just at your pelvis, belly kind of going from side to side, heart staying central. And then let everything go. Begin to tip your tailbone forwards, let your right hip move to the floor, your lower back, your left hip circling the pelvis. And then when you're ready, we can go in the opposite direction. Noticing what your feet are doing as you move. Feeling the different pressure changes in the floor of your footprint. And then when you're ready, just relax your hips to the floor. And then we're going to take our right leg in towards us. And if you just place your hand just behind the back of the right thigh, just to support it. We did this last week, and it was to try and draw a circle with the foot, but rather than going with the toes, I want you to think about leading with your heel. So pushing your heel towards the ceiling, out to the right maybe even point your toes. And the way I always imagine this, and it's a really ridiculous analogy, because you might not all be massive peanut butter fans, but I absolutely love peanut butter. And I get really round the jar with the knife. So I'm just kind of imagining I'm trying to get into all the nooks and crannies of like a really big giant barrel with my foot, trying to go all around the edge. So just, think about the most movement you can get out of the ankle. Imagine there's a big kind of barrel around the edge of your foot, and you're trying to get all around the edge. And then let's hug the leg in for a second, and then extend the heel to the ceiling, and again bending the knee, bringing the foot in towards the body. So just again take your time to heel the heel up and bend the knee. So let's place the right foot down just to rest by the left, and then we'll take the left leg in. So again, whatever analogy feels suits, lead with your heels, see if you can draw a circle with your left foot this time. And noticing as you do it, it's not in isolation. You're moving the foot, the shins doing a really big movement, the knees turning out, the knees turning in. You might even feel this in that hip joint. So again, notice where your mind wanders with this movement. And then relax the heel in and extend the heel to the ceiling, and again bending the knee, bringing it back in towards the body. Just take your time. And then let's lay down the left leg. So bring the leg out onto the floor in front of you. So you've still got that right knee bent, and place your left hand just somewhere on the floor, roughly above the, either out at, in fact, no, start again, bring it out at shoulder height. So you've got the back of the hand on the floor, the elbow on the floor, and then place your right hand over onto your, what is it called, your chest. I've got no brain today. So just relax your elbow onto the floor, hand just resting on the breastbone. And then start to slide your right hand down towards your left elbow. Look at the hand and just follow it, the movement to as far as you can. And you'll kind of feel there's a bit where you can't go any further. And then we're going to allow ourselves to roll back. So let the elbow touch the floor. And then again, slide the hand out towards the left. If you notice that you're lifting your head, bring it to the floor, keep your head on the floor, and again, just see how far you can travel, leading with your hands. The hand comes down, notice your ribs, notice your shoulders. And then maybe on this next one, what we can do is as we take the hand out towards the left and you feel the shoulder, you feel the ribs, just gently then press into your right foot. Keeping your knees standing up towards the ceiling, just follow that movement, hand sliding as far as it wants to go, maybe turning your head to face the floor. And then we're going to come back by letting your pelvis fall back, let the movement flow through the body, and again, just relaxing your hand back at the chest. And then do it again, hand out towards the elbow, towards the wrist. And then just noticing that gentle press allows you to turn. Again, let your head turn towards the floor. And then let your pelvis fall back, let it pull yourself back round and into your twist, back onto your back. And do that again a few times at leisure. Just take your time to feel that movement flowing through the bones. You might even notice your left hand touches your right wrist in different places, maybe each time you do it. It's almost like your arm's growing in length. And then what might be quite nice, which is actually the reason we're doing this, is we're going to flip ourselves over. So take your hand, lead it forwards, keep going. So let your right knee come to the floor, rolling over onto your tummy. So when you're on your tummy, I'll spin it around this time to a different position. So when you're on your tummy, bring your hands out under your head. We're coming back to the thing we did last week. Lay your cheek on your hand, looking out at your right elbow. Your knees are really nice and wide, and you've got your feet together. And then let's take our feet over to the left. So let your right hand slide, your right ankle, your right big toe slide down your shin, bringing your feet back to centre, and again tipping your feet over to the left, and again bringing those feet back to centre. So all we're doing is taking our feet to the left, but we're just having that awareness of the movement by letting the big toe slide up and down that left shin. So just taking those feet to the left. And then just notice your tailbone is wagging, your right side is becoming lengthened. And then let's bring these knees together this time. So feet together, knees together. And take the feet over to the left again. This time you're going to feel there's more of that pelvis involved. The pelvis turns, the belly turns, keeping your chest on the floor. So you're just, lazily looking at your right elbow and just taking those feet over to the left. And again, your feet might not touch, well, mine don't touch the floor, they're not that amazing. But just notice the twist that you're getting in the ribs and in the lower belly and in the pelvis. And then let's pause, shall we? So relax the feet, keep the knees bent, and then placing your hands out like a little crab at shoulder height. Laying your head down on the floor if that is comfortable. And then taking your feet over to the right again, to the left again. So take them over to the left. As you do that, lift your head up and looking over your right hand. So you're going to be pushing into the floor, that right hand. To come back down, lead with the feet. So feed the feet, feel the pelvis, and then lay your head down onto the floor. And then we do that again. So you take the feet over to the left, lifting your head up, gently looking over that right shoulder. So again, there's a little press of that right hand, and then lead with the feet, the knees, the pelvis, the spine, let the head rest on the floor. And then just do it again. Maybe see if you can use both hands this time. Just to press this time with that left hand. And again, sinking back down. Feet over to the left again, pressing. Can you come up a little bit more? And then what might be quite nice, she says, is as you take those feet over to the left, take your right knee further back. And as you press into the hands, you might be able to spiral up to seated. Looking over the shoulder, and then bring both hands again round, place them on the floor, and bring the feet over, laying back down, and then do it again, taking the feet across. So again, taking that right knee further back, a little bit further back. We can bring ourselves to seated. We can maybe just sit and be really happy with ourselves, and then bring those hands again back round, bringing the feet down, laying on the floor. And again, there might be that opportunity the next time to bring the hands all the way around and look over the right shoulder. Taking those hands again back forwards and back down, again sinking onto the floor. Lovely, I can see some crazy waving feet. Have a little look at you all, how you're getting on. I can see some really nice variations actually of this. So I think if you're finding it a struggle to get up, I mean, what we could do is just kind of, maybe, I've got a really nice option actually, if you don't fancy getting up, to lay your left arm on the floor, and as you bring those feet across the left, to roll over the left hand and let your right hand slide across the body. So that might be a really nice option if you're finding it difficult to come up. And then you would come back and lead with your right hand, bring it to the floor, let it roll you back onto your tummy. So you're going to have the left arm straight, bringing the feet over to the left. Let your head roll over the left arm, let your head come back to the floor and laying down. So again, this is a really nice little alternative. It might even be something you just kind of mix into it if you really want. So again, if you find that you want to do that, might be quite nice just to every now and again come down, lay the left arm down and roll over. So again, let these lovely little rolly twists flow through the body. So let's come back down onto our fronts and then let's go back onto our backs again, shall we? So yes, bring both hands above your head and straighten your left leg. And then take your right foot behind you, rolling back onto your back. And that's how we start, isn't it? And then straighten out both legs. And then take your left knee, stand it up. Take your right arm out by your side. And then this time it's your left hand that stays on the heart. And then lead with those fingers over to the right hand. Look at the hand, follow the movement. Notice when you kind of feel that you might want to go all the way over. So I always like to just not do that first. I like just to roll a few times, follow the order of movement from the wrist, through the elbow to the shoulder, and then all the way down to the hips, and then gently begin to press into that foot and roll onto that right side. And again, let your left hand slide away. Keep your left knee standing up, and again, your pelvis rolls you back. And again, take the hand, slide it, roll. The hand slides, that's it, let your head roll. And then if you wish, flop all the way over onto your belly. We'll do it back on. I need to spin this way so I can keep a beady eye on you. So again, your hands, this time when you're on your belly, widen out your feet at your knees, have your feet touching. Hands are resting under the head and you're looking over at your left elbow. So again, just let your cheek rest and then very lazily taking your feet to the left this time. Is that right? No. All right, isn't it this time? So sliding those feet over to the right. So you're going to feel that left big toe sliding up and down your right calf. So just let that happen. So again, with this movement, there's always the opportunity to come back to something a little bit more gentle if that's where you feel you want to be. And then we can bring those knees together and have the feet touching and then start to bring the feet over to the right. So let that left pelvis, the left thigh come up off the floor. So again, this is a nice alternative to that full movement to rather than coming up to seated. And then whenever you're ready, which it might be you think, no, I'm not going to, you could then place both hands down under, in your little crab position. So again, you've got your shoulders in line with your elbows and your wrists into your elbows. And then lead with the feet, taking the feet over to the right. Press a little bit of that left hand, look up over the left shoulder, and again, sink back down. So lead with the feet move, pelvis moves. Can we lift up a little bit? And again, settle back down. Can we lift up a little bit? And as you're doing that, maybe the next time, let your right hand be more involved. So this is going to push you up a little bit more. So feet come over, press, can we rise up? It might be now you think, okay, I'm not going to, so you can always kind of again sway the feet from left to right. You might want to widen out those feet again, come back to something a little bit more gentle if you wish. But if you are going to go into that fuller movement, as you take the feet over to the right this time, take the left knee back a little bit and then see how you feel about pressing. Why I'm at the back of the room, I do not know. And then bring those hands back to the floor. Pelvis roll, spine roll, sink down. And then again, feet over to the right, press. As you take that left knee back, it enables you to come up. Spiral round if that's comfortable. So both hands to the left. And then again, hands come back to the floor, rolling back onto your front. So feet to your right, take that left knee back, see how you feel. And again, we had that other little option, didn't we, which is to lay down on the floor. And then this time to have your right hand out in front of you. And you take the feet over to the right, roll over the right arm, just let your left hand roll in. That's another little way of doing this. And then slide your left hand away, rolling back onto your front. So again, this is another little way of moving if you really want to be that little bit less energetic. If you're happy to keep moving with that energy, again, taking the left knee behind, rolling up. And then if you're ready, if you want to, can you go the other way as well? So come down, take both feet across to the other side and spiral up. So how does that feel? So what we could begin to do is think about staying put for a second. So if you can come to seated, maybe the next time you come up, and sit comfortably. I feel like I've been in the washing machine. It's got very, very jumbly to me. So sitting however feels comfortable. So that might not be like this. It might be going to arrange your legs in a different way. Placing your hands on your, that's okay, on your knees. Tuck your tailbone under and allow yourself to look down towards your belly. So we're just rounding our spine, coming into a seated cat-cow. And then lead with your tailbone. Imagine you're going to push it away behind you. Feel your pelvis beginning to stack, feel your spine begin to stack, let your heart come up. So again, your tailbone tucks under the body, and this allows that pelvis to tilt back, and we can round the spine looking down. And again, pushing the sit bones back, feel the spine begin to stack, feel the heart come forward. And just play with that movement, sinking down, rising up, sinking down, rising up. So what I'd like us now to do is take our feet out in front of us and place our hands somewhere behind us. So don't have them close by you, it's going to be more difficult. So just behind you. And find, a good place in your hands to be. So my hands are relatively happy facing forwards, but if you're happy facing out, let them face out. Maybe you're going to go on to knuckles and fists. And then we're going to come into, again, another version of that cat-cow. So I want you to think about this time. So my sit bone is kind of just underneath me. And I want to imagine I'm going to aim my tailbone down towards my heels. So my pelvis is going to try to lay down almost. So tucking that tailbone under, the spine begins to round, and I'm looking down towards my belly. And then I'm thinking about trying to push my sit bones and my tailbone away behind me. So rolling back onto sit bones, feeling my heart begin to stack, just pressing down into the hands lightly, heart lifts. And again, then tuck the tailbone under, looking down. Pressing into hands, heart lifts, tailbone slides back. Again, sinking down. But again, letting the spine, this movement of the spine move through you. And I've got a little cheeky option, and it might not suit everybody, is to come up into a tabletop version of this. So if you wish to kind of just keep playing with that, because this is such a lovely movement anyway for waking the shoulders up and opening out the chest, strengthening the arms and all this kind of stuff. What you might want to explore, and again, it's an option. So we've got a very mixed group here today. We've got injuries and all sorts. So you've got your feet on the floor, and we're going to think about pushing the knees over the toes. So think about knees going over the toes. See how you feel about moving up into our tabletop. Keep looking down at your knees. And then take your bottom back and just rest. And then if you're ready to do that again, think about your knees going forwards over your toes, rising up. And again, taking your bottom back down. And then there's always that little option to go that little bit deeper, and it would be to straighten your legs. So see how you feel about rising up and taking your left foot in front of you and dropping the heel. Bringing the knee back. And then sliding the right foot away and seeing how you feel about that. Maybe you feel like straightening both legs. You might think that's horrendous, I don't know. Come back down. Bring the feet in, and then again we can maybe come back to what we've been doing. So have a little play. So again, rolling up and down into your kind of seated cat-cow. Or if you wish, we can again place these feet down and push with the knees forwards, rising up into our little tabletop thing. Maybe we're going to straighten the legs, I don't know. And again, we can find ourselves back on the floor. So let's again have just one more little play. So be at leisure with what you choose to do. In fact, I'm going to come back to that first movement. I thought it was really nice. There's another version of that reverse plank that you could do, and it is a bit tricky, and it is to raise the leg. And then have a really good rest. So pull your heels in. Oh, I'm still playing. Okay, keep playing. Absolutely fine. There you go. And then when you're ready, shall we bring our heels in towards us, rest your belly down on your thighs and just let everything go. So bring your heels in towards your hips, if you can. If you can't sit again comfortably in Sukhasana, take your legs out wide, so that'd be the alternative way of sitting. Possibly putting a cushion underneath your hips, particularly if you tend to find that you tend to sit with your sit bones a little bit tilted forwards. So find the height in the spine, and then all we're going to do, whichever way we've arranged our legs, is take the fingertips forwards. Let the hands guide you over into a fold. So fingers nicely up on the floor, wrists are lifted. Take your gaze down towards the floor, directly beneath you. Take some really lovely breaths into the back of the body. Walking your hands back in. Let's start to come towards our standing sequence. So we're going to move into some dog kind of positions. I'm way off the camera, I need to move the camera. So come over onto all fours whilst I'm shuffling my camera around. I'm really sorry about being really disorganised with my camera. Okay, and then, so we're going to move into some cat-cow again. I do seem to love a cat-cow at the moment, don't I? But I think it's a really nice transitional place, really. So you've got your hands on the floor, you've got your knees on your hips. Take an exhale. Let your tailbone lift and watch the space in front of you. And then take an inhale, tucking your tailbone underneath you as you do. Look down between your hands, look all the way down between your knees. Imagine you're going to look all the way behind you. And then again, lifting your tailbone as you exhale, looking between your hands, looking to the front of that, looking up to the space in front of you. Looking down the floor, looking down between your knees, drop your tailbone. And again, lifting your tailbone, looking along the floor, looking up towards the space in front of you. If you're happy to do this now, as you look down towards your knee, towards your belly, bring your right knee in towards you. And then extend the knee up behind. And then bring it back in. And just notice how it moves. And I want to just try something really nice, I would hopefully say it is. And it's all we're going to do is just rest that knee, both knees into the floor again. And just shift your weight slightly over to your left knee and then pick your left knee up. And all we're going to do is just give it a bit of a wiggle. So imagine that you've got like a little pendulum, let that knee wiggle, pushing it backwards and forward. Oops, the daisy nearly fell over. Don't take your hands away. And then whenever you're ready, take an inhale, bring the knee in. And then exhale, take the knee up and back, look forwards. Inhaling, bringing the knee in. Exhaling, taking the knee back. And then again, just drop it underneath. So we can have a little wiggle again, let the knee come backwards and forward. So it's like you're shaking off a dead leg. And then whenever you're ready again, inhale, bring the knee in, and exhale, take the knee up and back. And again, inhaling, bringing the knee in. Exhaling, taking the knee up and back. And just does it feel like a more kind of complete movement now, maybe even deeper? And there's more movement in the pelvis, more movement in the lower back, but that movement is a little bit easier to achieve. And then again, maybe let that knee dangle underneath. And then one more time, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. And we can, just maybe keep doing that, but some of us might choose to keep that right hand on the floor, let the right foot float up. See if we can bring that left hand towards the right big toe. Placing the knee back, sink into child, or if child disagrees with you, you can always come and take a little seat, just rest your hands on the knees. So whenever you're ready, again, just gently press through those shins, float it up to all fours, lift your tailbone, look forwards, and again, inhale, looking down towards your knee, exhaling, lifting your tailbone. Inhaling, looking down towards your knee. See how you feel like bringing that right knee in, the left knee in, sorry, this time. And again, lifting it up and back. Notice how the movement feels. Inhaling, bringing the knee in. Exhaling, taking the knee up and back again. Notice how the movement feels. And then whenever you're ready, pause. And again, let the knee kind of dangle, let it feel nice and fluid, like you're oiling the joint almost. And then whenever you're ready, inhale, bring it in, and exhale, float it back. Inhale, bring it in, and exhale, float it back. And again, see how it feels again, just to kind of shake it off, oil the joint a little bit, knee just floats backwards and forwards, and then again, inhale, move it in, exhale, float it back. So again, there is this little option of holding that movement. So if you're not getting on with holding the movement, by all means, just again, wiggle the knee, bring it in and back. If you're happy to hold the movement, extend the foot up and back, resting your left hand on the floor. Can you bring that right hand around towards your left big toe? Placing both hands down, sink again down into child, or again, if it suits the body better, to sit upright and have your hands resting on your knees. All right, so moving again back up into all fours, so push through the shins, bring up onto all fours. Tucking your toes under this time. Looking up towards the wall in front of you. Keep your hands straight, but push your hands forwards. Keep the arms straight, let your bottom move down to your heels. And this is just a transition. So we're going to come up to warrior. So if we're not doing dog for one reason or another, you can step into fold. If you're happy to roll into dog, lifting the knees, extending back. And then let's look at our feet. So stay on the balls of feet. Think about the hips lifting back. So spreading the hands, pushing those hands forward, 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 forward. Keeping those hips rising, tummy lengthens. We're going to take the right foot by the right hand. So we can do that by lowering the knees and bringing it forwards. Or we can point that right big toe up and back. So lengthening the right big toe towards the space behind you. And then swing the foot through and place it by the right hand if you are going to try that. And then bend your right knee. And then push, 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 push into float, floating up, she says, floating up, yeah, nonsense. Pushing up, heaving yourself up towards our warrior. And then we're going to pause just for a second. So we're moving into warrior one, so everything's facing forwards, hips, feet, that back heel's lifted, and on the ball of that back foot. And then again, just find your ribs, so you've got those lowest ribs, thumbs just there, little fingers on the pelvis, so we've got them trying to keep the natural spine. And then we're going to bend our right knee. So settle in, just, again, keeping those hands there for a second. What we're trying not to do is to let those ribs come forwards or kind of round. So trying to keep those level. So if you notice these things happening, just bend that left knee a little bit and it'll create some slack. Then bringing your hands up to the sky with your inhale. Exhale, bringing your hands down to heart. And then lower your right hand down by your side. So inhaling, taking your left hand out in front of you and keep going. So as you take the hand out in front of you, let your elbow come, let your shoulder come. Tilt your pelvis, so keep your spine long. Bend your right knee. And then with your right foot, straighten it. So pushing down, bringing your hand up to the ceiling. Exhaling, hand comes back to heart. Inhale, hand comes forwards, bending the right knee. So again, I want you to tip the pelvis forward so your spine stays straight. Reaching forwards, right knee bend. And then again, press, inhale, bring the hand back up and exhale, hand comes back to heart. So all times we're trying to let the pelvis tilt and the spine stay nice and straight. So inhale, take the hand forwards, bending the right knee, tilting the pelvis, holding this just for 3 more breaths. Have a little look down to your right knee, so knee over ankle, really pressing into the floor to keep yourself standing. And then use your right foot to straighten up. So coming back and just pause. Turn yourself now so you're facing side on. Picturing on the floor, you've got a massive clock. I said clock. Number 12's in the middle. Number 3 is on that right side. So turning your toes to the right. Turning your right knee to the right. So everything's facing that way. Wiggling your feet into that warrior 2 position. So you've got that right heel lined up with your left inner arch. And then I've been asked this week where the best position for this foot for your left foot is. Imagine looking at this clock again, the place between 11 and 12. So just turning that heel inwards a little bit. So your left foot is turned just a little bit out. So not fully out, between 11 and 12. And then keep your head, your heart, your hips nicely lined up, floating the arms out at shoulder height. And then look towards your right middle finger. Inhale. Exhale, bend your right knee. So as you're coming down, we're trying to keep these ribs and pelvis lined up. And then inhale, press with your right leg, straighten it, coming back to center, and then bend your left knee, one behind, so you're going to shift your weight backwards. If you wish to, you can pick up those toes on the right, looking out beyond the right middle finger. Straighten your left leg, inhale, coming back. Exhale, bending right knee, looking out to our warrior 2. So again, check your alignment, knee over ankle, central sensations with ribs and shoulders. And again, press, inhale, exhale, bend your left knee, weight drifts back. Inhale, rising back. Exhale, right knee bend. So we're staying here for 5 breaths. So finessing your warrior. Again, relaxing the shoulders. Have a look at the knee. And this left leg is pressing back. And again, you can really feel the presence of that left foot. Check where your shoulders are. Shoulders over the hips. So let's straighten up. So again, straighten the right leg. Bend your left knee, again sinking into our retreating warrior. So bringing that weight into the left leg. Knee going in the direction of the toes. If you want to pick up that the right toes, again we can. 3 more breaths. So moving back to your warrior 2, just for a second. Drop your left hand on your left thigh, bending your right knee. And then take your right hand up towards the ceiling into sun warrior. Inhale, straighten your right leg. Bring your right hand across to your left shoulder and then bend your left knee, sinking back. So again, we can keep our chest lifted or we can push the hips back and bow a little. So keep the spine straight. And then inhale, rise back, plant the right foot, bend the right knee and float the right hand up, coming back to Sun Warrior. Right hand comes up, there we go. And then again, moving back, left knee bends, right hand to left shoulder, bend the left knee, sink down, or take a little fold. Use the left leg to again inhale, rise back up, dropping your right foot, floating the right hand up again, bend the right knee, resting here in our Sun Warrior. So again, right knee bent, can we see the big toe? Have we got that left leg nice and straight, thigh pressing back? So straightening your right leg, bringing the right hand across to the left shoulder. I would like to now take that left hand behind the back, bend the left knee, and again, bringing that weight into the left leg. So as you bend the knee, weight into the footprint, and again, if you wish, bring the hips back, spine straight, take a bow. So pressing with your left foot, turn back, pivoting, so facing the front of the mat, bring yourself back down, coming in towards fours, coming into child, or moving into dog. So again, just, I would say have a rest. It's not a wrestle pose, is it, dog? So again, child is always nice, cat-cow is always nice, coming onto all fours is always nice. But we are going to transition towards our standing position again. So bringing your left foot forwards if you wish, or rising the big toe up towards the sky behind you, swinging the foot through, plant it down by your left hand. Bend your left knee, knee over ankle, and then press deeply into the floor. Feel yourself rising. And again, we should be in that warrior one position with everything facing the front of the mat, the back heel lifted. And again, if you just want to check your alignment, ribs over pelvis, maintaining neutral spine. Bending the left knee. So again, checking if that alignment changes. So again, we can always bend that right knee if we wish. Inhaling, hands float up. Exhaling, hands to heart, and then lower your left hand down. So your right hand is going to do the movements this time. Inhale, right hand comes forward. So again, imagine someone's got your hand, the elbow, the shoulder is coming. Pelvis tilt. And the left knee bends. And then the movement to come back up is from the foot. Press, straighten the leg, feel the spine straightening. And again, exhale. Inhale, leaning forwards, left knee bends. Straighten the leg, floating up. Exhale. Hand comes forwards again, bend the left knee. So you're just going over as far as feels comfortable. We're holding this for 5 breaths. So feel that left leg really working, pushing us from falling from the floor, whatever. And then straighten up, pivoting again, so you're facing the side of the mat. So again, have a bit of a wiggle, bring your hands down. Imagine that massive clock on the floor. Number 12, dead ahead. Number 9 this time, pointing your left foot, left knee, roughly towards number 9. And then picturing where 1 and 12 would be, turning your heel in. So again, not fully out, but not too straight on either. And that's just going to help that knee when you go back. So again, pubic bone, heart, everything's lined up. Inhale, looking over towards the left hand. Bend your right knee, moving in, your left knee, sorry, moving into warrior 2. So again, keep your pelvis and your ribs aligned. And then inhale, press in to straighten the left leg. Bend your right knee, sink back. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Exhale, moving into warrior 2. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, sink back. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, pause it in warrior 2. So again, just finesse, relax the shoulders. Look into the left middle finger. Have a look at your left knee. Where is your pelvis? Where are your ribs? Right thigh pressing back. So moving into our Retreating warrior, straighten your front leg, bending your right knee, hover back. So again, it's going to feel nice, I think, to lift the toes of that front foot. You might be happy for you to keep it down, but I just think there's a little bit more traction. So straightening up again, just resting, just in the centre for a minute. Drop your right hand onto your right thigh, turn your left palm up, take the hand to the ceiling, bend your left knee, moving into sun warrior. Inhale, straightening the legs, bringing the left hand across to your right shoulder, and again bend your right knee, hover back. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, left hand floats up, left knee bends. Inhale, right knee bends, left hand to right shoulder. Inhale, moving back. So again, bend your left knee, left hand moves up. 5 breaths again in your sun warrior. So again, feeling the right thigh pressing back, left knee in the direction of the toes, and that right hand is kind of sliding down the right thigh, feeling that you could breathe into these ribs on the left side. So moving back again, just towards our warrior 2 for a second, then take your left hand onto the right shoulder, right hand behind the back, and again bend your right knee, and as you do that, gently pressing hips back, taking the bow. Looking over the left shoulder again, if it feels good, to pick up those toes on the left side. And again, you're checking the spine is straight, so you're going to feel those muscles, the back engaged, feeling really strong through center. So press to straighten. Turn yourself back towards the front of the mat. Lower yourself down, again back into dog or back down into child. So let's lower knees down and come back down onto the floor. Gosh, I've got a dab on our heating's on. I'm melting. I'm really sorry if you're melting as well. So where are we? So we're going to do some lovely leggy stuff next. Kind of let go of all that stuff we've just been doing in the legs. So yeah, widen out your legs. Moving back so you can see my feet. I've cleaned them today. I did a lesson yesterday, Sunday, and I just kept showing my foot and it had a really dirty mark on the bottom of my hand. I'm so sorry. So yeah, you've got really clean feet today. Yay, thanks. Anyway, so imagine you've got the softest legs known to humanity. So yeah, the biggest thing actually, if you find that you're sitting and you're not feeling your sit bones, use a cushion, pop it underneath you. This is just going to enable it just to feel a little bit softer. But to be fair, I'm going to be asking you to not be rigid on the floor anyway. But anyway, back to the story. So imagine you've got really nice soft legs. Place your right hand on your right thigh. So if you remember at the beginning of the lesson, we did that twist where we took the hand across the body and the whole body moved. So this is where I kind of want you to be with this little story now. So sliding your hand down towards your shin. Notice when your shoulder starts to be involved. Notice if you take that hand down, you're going to kind of begin to lean towards the foot and let it happen. And then take your hand back up to the shin towards your thigh. It all looks wrong with stroking the legs. So again, taking your hand down, feel your shoulder begin to lean. And then again, coming back up. Just do it a few times. So you're being led by your hand. So as you can tell, it's taking you towards a fold, but it can be very easy to go and say fold from the hips, lengthen the spine. But I want you to be guided by, what's going to reach. So let your hands move down. Be really gentle with it. So yeah, just imagine you could fall asleep doing it. And I like to see this almost like a bit of a lullaby. So you're taking the hand down towards your shin, just let the body follow, be as gentle and as kind as you can in the movements. And then shall we switch later? Let's switch hands. So let's place the right hand by your right hip and take your left hand onto your thigh. And then do the same thing. So be guided by your hand. So notice as you do the hand down, you're twisting a little bit. And maybe as you do that, look over your right shoulder and then take the hand back up. And then sliding the hand down towards the ankle. Notice that you're twisting, looking over your right shoulder. Again, coming back up. Do it again. Notice as you do that, you get some really lovely lengthening sensations from the left wrist through the left shoulder, all the way down to the left hip. Maybe explore what you can touch on your foot. So, I mean, maybe some of us are going to be touching the back of the shin. So if you want to maybe have a really good feel underneath your shin, try that. Maybe you can feel all the way under your ankle. Maybe you can feel all the way around the edge of your foot. You know, see how much of this foot, this leg that you can touch. Notice as you're doing this, or hopefully have a look at what's happening at your left leg. So allow your left leg to roll in a little bit. That is going to let your left pelvis kind of come off the floor, and that is absolutely lovely. If that happens, let it do it. Let your left pelvis, obviously we've got left and right pelvis, let that left hip come off the floor. Okay, so let's bring both hands back to this party. So take your hands up to your thigh and slide them down towards your feet. And then let your elbows go out wide. And just let your gaze drop down towards your shin. Does that feel like a nice happy fold? I hope it does. So placing your hands either side of your knee, press into the hands and guide yourself up to seated, and then look at your left leg thinking, oh, you felt really sorry for yourself and left out, so now it's your turn. So your left hand goes onto your thigh and again slide it down towards the foot. Same kind of deal. So you're going to feel your right pelvis pick itself up maybe, the right big toe is going to turn in. Let it happen if it helps the movement. So again, you might even be exploring all the different places you can touch on the foot. Maybe let that left hand go on a little journey down around the foot. If it doesn't reach the foot, maybe take it under the shin, you know, maybe take it on the inside edge of the leg, on the outside edge of the leg, you know, have a little feel. I've just had a really strange thought. Yeah, just imagine you had to kind of model your body and you had to try to get a really good sense of it. How it would feel to touch so you could get that play out and model it well. So now let's switch hands. We're going to place the left hand on the floor, right hand comes to the thigh, and again slide it down. And again, just take your time. As you bring the hand down, notice that for that hand to come down the shin, you're beginning to turn. So look over your left shoulder as you do it, maybe. And again, sliding your hand back up, feeling your spine coming back to that neutral place. Again, take your time. Just slide and again, explore what you can touch on your foot and on your shin and on the ankle and on the knee and all the places. Have a little feel around of that shin. There's so much feedback from this hand, like I think I bored you with this the other week, but your brain has got a little map of the body. And the third is taken up with the face and how to move it. And the third is all what your hands can do and feel. And then the rest of that third is your rest of your body. So this hand has got so much feedback. So let's now place both hands on the thigh and again slide it down, elbows go wide, take a bow towards the shin. So placing your hands either side the knee, press into the hands, guide yourself back up. This time bring your feet together. Yes, there's more leg fun going on. So this one I liken with swimming. So if you go swimming, you might do a breaststroke. So you're going to bring your hands forward. And then I know if I do breaststroke, I don't come all the way back, but I do bring them wide. But I want you to, if you're going to do it, you're going to bring the hands forwards, let them swim all the way back. And what I like to notice with this is as you bring the hands forward and you swim back, it's what your shoulders are doing. So when you're bringing those hands, in fact, just for a moment, bring your hands forward, bring your hands back and notice your shoulders. You'll feel them as you bring them back, drawing in towards your spine. So just kind of feel that, and that is going to help you come up to seated. So let's place these hands back down again. And I don't want you to think of folding. All I want you to do is thinking about sliding your hands as far as, not far forward as in breaking yourself, but you know, as comfortably forward as you can. So lead the fingers, bring them forwards, take a bow. And then when you've reached your furthest place, widen them out. Bring them back beyond your hips. Feel your shoulders gliding down your back and let that roll you back to seated. And then slide your hands down again. Slide them out and wide. Feel the shoulders riding down the back and let it bring you back to seated. So keep your fingers on the floor. So if you've got your hands on the floor, it's going to feel, I don't know how that feels. Oh no, it does work. I prefer fingers on the floor. So whichever floats your boat, I would say. And then if it feels good, we can either keep moving or we can allow ourselves to sink down into our fold. So just let your hands slide forwards, take your gaze down to the shins, resting in your fold. Take a really good breath. So again, it might be, this morning I was teaching, people kept moving. It was really nice to see, but if it suits you to fold, stay in your fold. So let's slide these hands again all the way around. Let it bring you back to seated. And then we're going to move on to our back. So I think what I'll do, the video I did on Monday, I'll send it out to you all so you can see what craziness. And if you liked it, then I'll teach you. I think that's what we'll do. So lay yourself down on your backs and bring your feet together and let your knees drop out nice and wide. So we're coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, and with this one, I think it's always wise to just to think about your back. Is this comfortable? You know, even to think about your knees. So if you want to, you can always put two little cushions either just underneath the tops of your thighs, just so you've got something to rest in, so you don't feel you're going to your fullest range of movement. And similarly with your back, you can always maybe put a little cushion underneath your sacrum, just so you're not overarching the lower back, or maybe even explore where your feet are. So changing the position of your feet might change how it feels in your back. And then let your hands rest down by your side. So you can either stay nice and still, or you can begin to roll your tailbone forwards into the floor and let your lower back float off the floor. And then you could begin to press very softly the lower back into the floor. And again, you can begin to lean the tailbone forwards into the floor. And again, you could press the lower back into the floor. But like I said, similarly, it might be that you just want to stay nice and still. So again, there's no need to move if it doesn't feel right. If you're moving, notice the knees. The knees are doing a little journey. The knees are dropping outwards. The knees are floating upwards. But again, if you're nice and still, just let your belly and your breath be your guide. We're kind of pandiculating this lower half. So again, a really interesting way of releasing tension through our psoas muscle, this hip wiggle. The knees drop in towards the floor. And what we can then just begin to do is again just rest the tailbone into the floor just for 1 second, and then again just let everything go, let everything settle. Sliding your hands behind your head this time, interlace your fingers, and then I'd like you to close your knees over to, I would say over to the left. So bring your right knee over to the left. As you feel your pelvis roll over to the left, bring your right hand over to the left as well. So you're laying on your side with both elbows wrapped around your head. I need to make sure I've got space for this. So this, I think, is a really beautiful way to move. I'm really sorry, I hope you agree. So you've got these elbows wrapped around the head, hands interlaced. You've got your right knee on top of your left. All we're now going to do is just drop the right big toe on the floor, just beneath the left foot, and then straighten the leg. And then slide the foot back up and have the knees rest together. So keep the foot on the floor as you rest the knees together. And then do it again. So slide your right foot away, feel the leg straighten, and then bring the knees back together, but keep that right foot on the floor. So, you know, the kind of thing you might do in bed, you might change position and you'd have that leg kind of lengthening away, and then you might bring the knees back together. So keep your feet on, keep that right foot on the floor. So here's the bit I love the most. So the next time you take that right foot out to the end of the mat, slide it kind of just behind you on the floor. So it's like you're trying to get your foot to that very bottom end of the mat. So keep the foot on the floor. As you do it, feel that willingness of your pelvis to roll back. So let your pelvis roll back, let your head begin to turn, let your chest begin to turn, and lay on your back. If it feels nice, straighten your left leg. So you're going to lay on your back and just rest with your toes out in front of you. So we're going to go back onto that left side. So turn both toes to point to the left. Begin to bend both knees to the left. Try to bring your right knee onto your left. And as you do that, you'll feel your pelvis again rolling onto its left side. And again, rolling onto your left side. And then do it again. Sliding your right foot out to that bottom corner of the mat behind you. Feel your pelvis begin to roll back. Let your head roll back. Let your ribs roll back. Let your arms roll back. Straighten your left leg if it's comfortable. I know today one person kept the leg straight, so it's up to you on that one. And then to come back, turn both feet to the left. Starting to bring both knees to the left. So you're sliding both feet along the floor. Feeling your pelvis again rolling to the left again. Lay both arms together and again laying on that left side. And then we just do it again. Slide your foot back, feel your pelvis turning, legs begin to straighten, rolling back onto your back. Just play with that. Let me see how you're getting on. So I tend to see it almost like an unwinding. So that right leg slides back, feel the pelvis begin to straighten, uncurling onto your back. So just imagine doing this on on the garden on a summer's day. That's it. So allow yourself to uncurl. Lovely. And again, it's all for me, the difficult bit is just those feet turning. So feel the feet turning. And then as you bring the both knees up, you'll start to get the idea that the pelvis wants to roll back onto its left. And again, just close yourself down. Let's do that one more time. Slide back, uncurl. And then shall we go to the opposite side? So turn both feet to the right this time. Bringing the knees to the right, so keep the feet on the floor, slide the knees to the right, and can you roll onto your right side? So again, bring the elbows together on that right side, so again, ribs all roll too. And then do the same thing with your left leg, so take the left leg out behind you, feel the pelvis uncurl and roll, and again, laying on your back, straighten your right leg. And then turning both feet to the right, bend the knees. As you bring those knees up, feel the pelvis turn, feel the ribs turn, feel yourself rolling back onto your side. And do it again, slide your left foot back. Pelvis uncurls, releasing back. Turning both feet to the right, bend the knees, roll back onto your back. Again, just do it a few times. It is possible to go both ways. So to go both ways, you turn the feet in the direction you want to travel, bring the knees in the direction you want to travel, feel the pelvis rolling that way and close yourself up in that other direction. So then leading the top leg, slide it back, feel yourself rolling onto your back. Turning your feet in the direction of travel, bringing the knees in the direction of travel, rolling over. Top leg slides back. Rolling both ways. Just see this as a really kind of, imagine doing it as one of the first things you did in the morning. You're laying on your side and you're just kind of uncurling from centre. I see this as a really lovely kind of yawn for the body. And when you're ready, whichever side you're on next, uncurl from there and just let your hands drop down by your side and close your eyes and just begin to settle in. So noticing again the physical. Noticing the breath. Noticing all the sensations we feel in the body. So as we practice letting go of our ego, we practice our yoga, we practice the idea of surrendering inwards and listening to what the body is telling us. As we rest in this present moment, noticing the breath, noticing all the things that make us. I'd like to go through the koshas. So the koshas are all the beautiful layers that make up the self. So if we can just think about the physical body, the one that everybody sees, the one that touches everything, the one that moves and carries around, the one we said thanks to at the beginning of the lesson. Just notice everything you can feel in the body. Noticing the shoulders, the arms, the hands. Notice the shape of your spine. Notice the shape of your ribs. Notice the weight of your pelvis, the thighs, the calves. You can even notice the temperature of the body. Just notice how the body feels. Is it relaxed? Is it sending signals of pain? Is it comfortable? Is it tense? Moving down one layer into our pranamaya kosha. So the pranamaya kosha is our energy body. For each breath we take gives it energy. The food we eat gives it energy. Even the movements we make in our life can make yourself not energetic or tired. But just noticing, the energy of the body. How would you measure it on a 1 to 10 scale? But prana is, the breath that comes in and out. So just for a moment, we're just going to work with our breath. So we're just going to take 5 breaths into the belly. So let your belly begin to swell gently and relax gently. Guiding your navel in towards your spine, start then to let the breath move more towards your chest. Relaxing your belly, let your breath go into the whole self. So full yogic breath, belly begins to rise, chest begins to rise, breath begins to leave. Just take your time just to explore and feel how that movement goes through the belly and the chest into the shoulders. So relaxing the breath just a little. Just want to move into Ujjayi breath. So it's a breath that catches at the back of the throat. So if you've not done it for a while, just remind yourself that it's almost like you're going to fog up a mirror with your breath. But rather than making the hissing sound with the mouth of you would close your lips and try to make the same sound. So take an inhale. And again, just imagine breathing onto the mirror, but close the lips. Make that same sound, but with the lips closed. Just practice that a few times, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. So beginning to let the breath fall a little bit quieter, so just moving into sukha breath, so it's just a natural breath. Let your awareness again just move back into the body itself. And then we can take the focus up to our mind body, so Manamaya Kosha, so the monkey mind, the one that bothers us all day with the lists and reminders of stuff we haven't done and things we should be doing, things we have done, and just kind of notice the thoughts that you're having. Maybe the fewer thoughts, maybe the mind is just as full as ever. And as we go through these koshas, as we practice our yoga, we practice our pranayama, we might begin to become aware that this mind's a little bit empty, and this is when we begin to see the Vijnanamaya kosha. So the clarity of mind gives you this essence that we can almost see and feel our knowledge body, our intuitive side. Kind of honing your intuition. And eyes closed, breathing. Notice where your mind's gone, where you would sense your intuition. And this deepest layer that we practice yoga for is to find our bliss body, Anandamaya Kosha. And so what is bliss? For me, bliss is peace and emptiness of the mind, a soft body, and just really being in touch with the energy that flows through the body. Sensing the pulse, sensing the heartbeat. What we're going to do is just stay with all these layers, just notice where your mind begins to wander. Is it a physical thing? Is it a mind thing? Have you rested on an emotion? Are you moving to your breath? Just let yourself wander through the layers, just a few more moments. Then surrender into silence, just surrendering the ego. So let's begin to remind ourselves of the things we should be happy for. So just maybe thanking silently the people around you, your family. Again, you might be thanking your body, you might be really thankful for where you live. We live in an absolutely beautiful part of the country. I think that's really important at this moment. So whenever you're ready to begin to move, we can maybe bring our hands towards the floor behind you. Sliding your toes away if you wish, push your heels away around your back a little bit, you know, press your back into the floor, roll your tailbone away. And then bring your knees in towards the body, give yourself a hug. And then shall we roll to seated? You don't have to. Come with me. I will stop the recording.